been stolen in ways. It's been all kinds of stuff that we are not given credit for, I guess, in a way.
Let's talk about all of the black artifacts in French museums and German museums. Because they belong there.
That you have a history, that you come from somewhere. You know, do a history test. What's the ancestry? Do an ancestry thing. Find out where you might have come from. Just realize that you have a lineage and it didn't just start here. We get lost in where the ship dropped us off and forget about where the ship picked us up.
Yeah.
The ship picked us up in one land. We're all from one area. People don't understand, if you don't know something, and somebody might think this is the simplest thing in the world here, but if you don't grow up in an environment, like you said, environment is very important. And ignorance is a thing. You know what? Ignorance is a thing no matter where in the world you are. If you don't know something, the secret could be over there across the street. The answer could be across the street. But if you ain't never been across the street and you don't know what's across the street. We back. Bro, it's been a minute, dude. It's been a minute. We're not done. We never gonna be done, by the way, bro.
Like,
life be lifing, but we never gonna be done.
When are you ever on your last day learning, man?
Never. Oh, last day, bro. Student Fuzz. My man just started school.
And I'm a student now.
He's a history major.
History major.
What you like about that, bro? How you liking it?
I love history, man. And it's like all of my classes. Even though I picked my classes, which is the first time I ever did that, because I didn't go to high school.
But why history though?
I just love the history of all things. I feel like if you understand the history of anything, then you can understand the why.
Okay. And
when you understand the why, it's like uncovering pain.
Yeah.
And digging through your trauma. When you understand why you felt that way, and all of the things that surrounded that, you can accept that moment.
True.
And you can grow.
True. I love history, bro. Like, that's one of my biggest things. If you can understand history, you can understand life and human thinking, period. You know, just by looking back on things. And
there's so many different concepts of history. It's human history. Like, there's whether you want to study the history of the Americas, you want to study the history of how animals have been developing over the
history
time.
Of technology.
There's so many different forms of history. If it's not it's not closed in.
I feel you. All right, talking about history, there's a lot of history being made lately.
Man, it's
there's history being made lately around the world, man, and it's a special history month.
Black History Month,
Black History Month. And what does that really mean, no Fuzz? Because I struggle with Black History Month because I'm like, is it Black history or is it just our history? I don't get it. Like, in a way, because I know some Black people would say, oh, we deserve this month, but is just a month though? Because I feel like, forget it. Why don't we just, every day, it's American history. It's history.
And for some reason, every time we talk about Black history, we only talk about the American version of Black history.
And then we talk about Black history like it was just us.
Yeah,
but is it
was Black so many people tied it. Like, do we not remember that it was whites only and colored people not allowed? Not black, not colored. It was a lot of us.
So Black history or our history?
Like, it was everybody's history, but I feel like, in a sense, it's Black history though. 'Cause I feel like, don't get me wrong.
Go ahead.
Only because we know what our history been through. Like, to shine some light on our history in particular, because our history has been stripped from the textbook, rewritten. It's been
stolen in ways. It's been all kinds of stuff that we are not given credit for, I guess, in a way.
Let's talk about all of the black artifacts in French museums and German museums. Because they belong there.
Somebody said that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
belong there is crazy.
Because they took it.
Like, the mentality to say something that's not yours, that came from a different place, belongs in over there is ridiculous to me. Like, where does that, like, that's a superiority complex on another level. To say something that's not yours doesn't belong to the people who own it. You know what I'm saying? You're basically saying, no, it's ours. They made it, but it's mine for real. Because they're not smart enough to own it, but they made it.
Just how they discover everything that was already existing.
So
That's
black
like me
history.
walking in your house and being like, I discovered it, so I live here now. Come on, guys.
And all the stuff, all the art you made in the house, everything on the walls.
Ooh.
This is too good for you.
Ooh, this jacket? This is my jacket. Oh my, take it off.
You're not good enough for this jacket. Even though you made this jacket and you thought of the idea of how to make this jacket looks better on me. God really made it for me, but you just made it. Does that make sense?
That's a whole
But anyway,
we deserve our month.
So
black people, and I will say, and I know there's a big debate between this black and then African, and I feel like black is only a thing because the culture of America, and I feel like black is an American thing.
It's an experience. It's a black African American experience in America, and that's a whole different top. That's a real thing, bro. Like African Americans in this country, they are their own entity, and it should be celebrated.
Yeah,
it should be celebrated. It's not to like they've been through a whole different people. It's a whole different mindset too. Me as an African who grew up in an African culture, like with parents who were born in Africa, like myself, I was born there too, but I grew up here mostly. So my personality is like a black African American, but I could see the culture differences and I could see the divide too. You know what I'm saying? Like as an African, I did see like Africans will look down on some African Americans and be like, just look at them in a different light. Not my family particular, my dad wasn't like that, but I get when African Americans tell me that Africans look down on us. Because sometimes I see it, oh, they're ghetto, they're this. But I'm like, you don't understand the struggle. You don't understand the rising, the beautifulness of like the experience of being a black person in America. Like that's the coolest stuff ever to me, bro. Like because I grew up in the culture, obviously, but like I look at it, I'm like, man, I love it, man. I love the everything about African American culture, and I'm African American myself. Like I'm African American, and I love the African part of me, and I can see both. I can see how they align too in terms of the culture, even the mindsets. Like I'll think back to people in Africa, and I'll be like, he like my nigga, he like my man Fuzz. I said nigga, fuck it. I'm just saying, we're not gonna bleep it. Fuck it. We ain't gonna bleep it. We say it sometimes. I mean, we try not to say it.
Yeah, fuck it. We be throwing curse words in there sometimes. So
yeah. So, but I'm like, that dude is just like my man Fuzz, but just on the other side of the world. You know, and I could see the commonalities. If we could just like realize that, but because I think Africa is very important to Africans in America too, because you need a home base.
That is another thing. I'm glad you brought that up because I like how Congo just opened their borders to black people, and now you can get a citizenship in Congo now.
Shout out to Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso. If you do not know him, go Google him. The importance of what he's doing right now in like bringing unity and bringing real African culture and just like establishing that, like that
Google man, Ibrahim Traoré. And everybody, please, like if you are not hip to who he is, focus on that man because the last few people that was like him. All of them. You know what happens to them.
You know what happens.
They take them off the map. You know what they do to them.
And just
good men in Africa trying to unite a country and actually liberate people. Come on now. But
that's deep history.
That's deep. That's deep history.
That's deep. But just Google Ibrahim Traoré if you want to know more. I feel like we could brush on it, but Google him, Ibrahim Traoré, and Africa and how that unites us because I feel like African Americans, like they do this, but it's very important that they look back on that continent and establish themselves with it because because that's home. You need a home base. Like at the end of the day, yes, America is yours. You're entitled to it like any other person in this country, but the history back there where you come from, there's a people that love you, that look like you, that are over there and love you too, man.
Thank you for touching on that, bro. Your history did not start in 1619 when the transatlantic slave trade began. Like, that's not when your history started. You did not start as a slave. Just because you was born in America and that's all you teach you during Black History Month in school is black slavery, that is not your history. We were really kings.
It's a thing.
Like,
it's a thing.
And I understand, like, you don't, and that's to me, only thing I feel like we need to make sure we keep separate is we were kings, but Yes, your kingness was taken from you. Yes, your heritage was taken from you. Yes, your history was taken from you. But let's not go arguing with the people who feel like it's okay that that happened to us and just rise up. Like if we really just rise up and we collaborate and we become the collective that we really were, that we've always been, and we become the people that we've always been, we were destined to be.
And take pride in that, because that could maneuver anywhere in your life. If you're a computer scientist, if you're a doctor, just take a pride of your somebodyness.
Yeah.
That you have a history, that you come from somewhere. You know, do a history test. What's the ancestry? Do an ancestry thing. Find out where you might have come from. Just realize that you have a lineage, and it didn't just start here. There's people like. There's so much history to you that you don't have no idea. And once you have a history and you know who you are, because my dad always reminds me, because I'm Fulani, I'm from the Fulani tribe. But he always reminds me of my grandpa, and that was stripped away of a lot of people black people in this country.
We don't know our history.
It starts, yeah.
We don't get that luxury.
Just like it's not just your great granddad, it's your great 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 granddad. You know what I'm saying? There's that to you.
Let me touch on something real quick, because that's the big divide, and that's why a lot of black people in America don't go back to that African heritage, because we were taught that was not cool. Mm-hmm. Like, because all that we know, all that we hear on TV is about how it's poor now,
the huts,
how it's bad now. Oh, save the children. Mm-hmm. But if you find out why it's like that, history, like I said in the beginning, if you find out the why, mm-hmm. you would understand, and you'd have why they're like that. When you understand that civil rights, when black people got civil rights in 1965, when everybody in America got civil rights, when Asian people also got civil rights.
Yeah, civil rights is just not a black thing. Like when people talk about Black History Month, we're talking about so many people, like other cultures that like are uprooted because of African Americans too. Our struggle helped a lot of people. Affirmative action, you know who benefits from affirmative action the most? White women. Like people only think of some of these things and only think, oh, we're just minority. Like it's a lot of people have come up from the struggle of this community.
You know, one thing that I just had to be reminded of while I was studying I was doing homework, mm-hmm. and it was like black men gained the right to vote first. Mm-hmm. Then everyone else. White women didn't even have the right to vote before black men. Mm-hmm. They really are they're down on the totem pole, even though they're brainwashed by the white man. You know how they are. They've been under the fist so long.
Like people think about these civil rights and all these actions that's going on nowadays, and they just think they tie it to a particular group of people, but it's really stretches beyond that. And they don't look at it in the broad scape. Like African American struggle was an American struggle. Yeah. It wasn't just a black people or a particular people with a skin color struggle. It was an American struggle.
Nobody was above the white man. Like that's just like the only way I can say it. Like it's no nice way to say it.
That's crazy.
It's no nice way to cut the cake. Nobody was above a white man.
Yeah.
It's not white people in particular. It's white men. It's white men. Like
that was the dominant force at that time. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
like we had white women activists, but they didn't have voting rights. So guess who? We had to have white men be activists for us to get us out of our situation.
And let's not forget about during the struggle, let's not forget about people who had a different skin color. Because when you think of African American History Month, you're thinking of black skin. But there was other people of different races that were part of the fight too. You know what I'm saying? There was people that were along for the ride and who supported. It's not just a black skin thing. It's a people who are fighting for truth.
Yeah.
And humanity, you know?
Because don't get me wrong, the lines can get blurred in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. We can easily demonize a group of people, but then that would be the same thing that happened to us. It was a sickness to think that it was for a black person or a slave, any colored person of slavery, to think that it was okay to want to be free. That was a mental disorder.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So imagine the type of trickery that they were running through these people. These are our ancestors, but you got to understand they're our ancestors, but how long ago was that? Like, come on.
And to bring up a great point, when people say like, all right, that's been so long ago,
It's
like
not
why aren't
that
these people
long.
like doing better now or like anything like that? Like you should come up and look at American Dream. There's no secrets anymore. And I agree at a level, but people don't understand too, trauma is passed down. It's in your DNA. It's in your real DNA.
I'm not
Like
gonna
people like that trauma from your past ancestors, slavery and all that, it's in your DNA. It's still passed down and it doesn't just go away.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It takes millennia. You know what I'm saying? For that to go away. Like people are still fighting that struggle within themselves. They don't even know that they're traumatized because of that, but it's in your DNA still. And people don't even understand that. Like it's in your physical DNA, that trauma that your great granddad, mother was going through is still in your DNA, locked in.
That's a fact. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm from around the way. Like I didn't grow up with nobody in the household talking about politics or talking about real estate or even talking about religion. Like nobody was learning these things to a level to where they can explain it to me from like knowing truth. Like I understood it. It correlated with my brain and I know it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not discounting my people.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
I had to figure it out.
I had to figure it out.
I had to figure it out because everything around you was what it was. You know what I'm saying? It was just, that was your truth. Like when people look at like some of these minority communities and they just think, look, America, like look at all these abundant opportunities. But people don't understand, and you could still be trapped in a mentality even though there's things happening outside because you don't know.
Because if you're in, like, people really don't understand the power of your environment.
That's a good point.
Your environment is so powerful.
Great
like,
point.
If you're around nothing but violence, I didn't know historians. I had history teachers. Some of them might have been black, but I didn't know people who thought like me right now when I was 15. I didn't know a dude who had been through what I've been through
and became a doctor.
And I didn't even I'm even me. I never ran into a 26-year-old me at that age.
Yeah.
Because what I've been through, my background, my history, my ups and downs, and still being where I'm at in life.
Yeah.
I didn't have no template. I just rolled it. Good luck.
Good luck, man. That's what people don't realize too. Yes, we're in this country and it is a great country. And of course, we still got some struggles and things that, we got to work on. And we love the country, by the way, but this is not anti-America. This is America, Black history it's American history. It's our history. Everybody was involved in this. It's world history.
Yeah, it's world history.
Because of the influence. And what do you think, wait,
hold up. One more thing, my fault.
Go ahead.
Because you touched on world history, let's also note that the transatlantic African slave trade, when there was slavery in America, there was also there are Africans in Brazil, there are Africans in Germany, there are Africans in France. We are all over the place. So don't feel uncomfortable to travel no matter what's going on right now. Point. Don't feel uncomfortable to travel just because you're black and you think there might not be enough for you. We are all over the place.
Fuzz, I'm glad you said that because sometimes we get lost in where the ship dropped us off and forget about where the ship picked us up.
Yeah.
The ship picked us up in one land. We're all from one area. There's black people in Brazil. There's black people in Colombia. There's African Americans all over the world. The ship stopped at different locations. They're all Africans, by the way. So don't get in this, I'm this, I'm South Caribbean, I'm all this. Yes, that's good because there's different cultures that come from all those places, and it's okay to embrace that. But also remember that you come from a place.
Yeah.
And that's what unites us.
I was born in America. My mother was born in America. My grandmother, my grandfather. But I am African. That is my heritage. My descendants are from Africa. I am still African.
And people forget about Africa and how big it is. I forgot. I was reading this stat. You could fit like 100 Americas into the continent of Africa. That's what we're talking about.
Wait, no,
when we
not
talk
I
about,
don't think it's 100. I don't think it's
like
100.
no. It's some extraordinary.
It is
number.
an
You know
extraordinary
what?
number.
I'm gonna look.
Like the
I'ma look
maps,
up.
they said they scaled the maps differently to make Africa look smaller because it's so big. It would make
How many
America look small.
Americas
You can travel from one
can
corner
fit
of
into
America
Africa?
to the. So think about this. You could travel from like the bottom of America, like from what the bottom of California, San Diego area to New York in like what 40 something, 30 something, 40 something hours. You couldn't. That ain't even a fraction. If you was to try to travel across Africa, it is really insane. The numbers get stupendous.
No, it's Africa is humongous.
Yeah. I don't know the exact distance on that, what numbers they really would throw on that, but I do know that gets crazy. But another thing I do want to touch on.
Okay, I over-exaggerated the number.
I over-exaggerated the number,
but I said some crazy stuff. But this is just, I said 50. It's not 50. It's nowhere near 50. But just imagine how big America is, and you think it is. You could fit 4 Americas basically into the continent of Africa. That's still crazy. Just think about how big that is. You're thinking all these states, you could fit 4 of them things in the motherland. Africa is the cradle of human civilization.
And us also the Middle East does not exist. That's just another thing that I just wanted to say. But
because people look at
Africa,
they look at Egypt and they'll look at certain like Morocco and Libya, and then they'll describe them as Middle East. Those are African nations. Yeah. Those people are in there. They're Africans. And people want to like separate it because there's so much history in those areas, and there's so much information, and there's so much people who've done great things in those lands that they almost, it feels weird to me, Fuzz, but it almost seems like they're trying to take it away from.
Let me hop, because I know we was talking off camera, but I'm about to hop into this real quick.
Hit them with it.
Like, you have to understand. Say, let's go all the way back when, before that this white history began, because
I ain't got a point.
In Africa, when the philosophers from Greece were coming to see the great inventions that already existed, to come learn from the great teachers that were already teaching, to come borrow some of these inventions, learn some of these agriculture skills, to come and become civilized. People would be sent to Africa to become civilized.
You know when the bubonic plague was killing people, and it was just a simple hygiene problem, and we couldn't figure that out?
They did not know how to bathe. That's the problem. They had to be civilized. African people civilized. A large mass of people. I'm not going to say the entire world, because there were people who were stretched out, but a large mass of people. That's where this entire culture that we live in, some of the designs, some of the clothes, this all came, I know a lot of people else wearing it, Louis Vuitton, and those designs even came from African people. Art. That's how far this goes. This goes deep. Like, a lot of this is already stolen.
The Moors, people don't understand. Like, the Moors were in Europe. Google the Moors, man.
They help civilize the Spanish people.
That's what I'm saying. They were in Europe, for a minute.
So think about how far back that goes.
Have pride. This stretches deep.
The Caucasians from the mountains of Caucasus, those people from way yonder in Europe, they were very late in the game. I know in Turkey there were people, okay.
They were late in the game.
They were late in the game, but Turkey is like what, Asia? That's all the way East Asia. So like people try to you hear Turkey and you think white, that's not white, it's Asian. Mm-hmm. They were late to the party. But they could fight. Hey, y'all could fight. And y'all won some fights, and then y'all rewrote history. The conqueror writes history. We know that. So please go back, do a little bit of history research, catch up on what's going on. This takes you a long time. It's going to take you more than one day. Your head is going to hurt a little bit.
Fuzz, can this be one episode?
History
Month could be a whole episode.
It could.
That's good.
It could. We could just keep it rolling.
We could just
We don't even got to cut that out either. Black History Month is about to be one episode.
You know what? We're
This is
making
for
this
Black
one
History Month.
episode. This for
You know
Black.
what? Because it started getting passionate because we had to. I think it was just like we really thought we were just gonna touch on Black History Month. Like we not too black.
But bro, why did we think we was just gonna touch on Black History Month? Yo, we messed up.
You know what? We sorry.
I apologize,
We
bro.
apologize.
We thought we were just gonna do a brush, like a what?
We couldn't just. It started getting heavy.
This could be a whole series. Black history, because it's
I'm
world history.
I said that. I said, yo, we got the whole month. We gonna start giving y'all some information.
And a month is really not.
It's not. We got the whole. We got the whole. You know what? We got an eternity.
This makes
we gonna keep passing Black history down until we can't pass it down no more.
There is
until God turn the lights off.
It's Judgment Day, and we gotta all go to attention and talk that talk. But this makes me think of like, what are we doing in our school system? Because sometimes I'll talk to certain people, I'm like, they have no idea what has happened.
They don't.
We have lost.
It's because we've been poisoned. Our community, like, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I know.
Poison?
A lot of people say, like, I think it's hard for me because, like, I've been there.
Yeah.
Like, I was in the public school system. I was in the New York public school system.
They basically tell you, all right, you were brought here as slaves, and you were slaves, and then Lincoln freed you. There was a war fought over you, and you were freed, and then kumbaya. And they don't talk about Jim Crow era, like
they'll brush on it.
Oh yeah,
they talk about
Dr. King, civil rights, boom, boom. Yeah, Malcolm got killed. Yeah, and here we are now. Look how great it is.
Like, I graduated high school. I'm just fully understanding what capitalism really means. I'm just fully understanding socialism. Like, they don't actually inform you. I didn't understand taxes. I didn't understand insurance. I didn't know how to be an adult. I didn't know, like, you got to understand, Black people are really coming from, especially from poor, low-income neighborhoods.
No.
The education system is not the same. You didn't go to the same public school. Me and you ain't go to the same school. We didn't get the same basic education, life education, because we weren't informed the same. I didn't have access to certain information.
You were climbing up a steep hill. Like, you were really fighting at a default.
Yeah, I'm knowing that somebody else knows something that I don't know, but I can't figure it out. I'm just dumbfounded. Like that, as a kid, I used to be like, how are these people doing so great at life? And I'm not like, and my family wasn't doing terrible, but it was like, we could be doing better. Like, how are we not doing better? So it's like, what is, like, and I understood that there was, like, if things that we could have been working on, but we didn't understand that if you worked on this, it gets you here.
It gets you here. No, that's a very important point, because people don't understand, like, there's, like, if you don't know something, and somebody might think this is the simplest thing in the world here, but if you don't grow up in an environment, like you said, environment is very important, and ignorance is a thing. You know what? Ignorance is a thing no matter where in the world you are. If you don't know something, the secret could be over there across the street. The answer could be across the street. But if you ain't never been across the street, and you don't know what's across the street, and there's certain avenues that prevent people from crossing that street. There was roadblocks preventing people from crossing that street and seeing what's on the other side of that street. And if you don't know what's on the other side of the street, you like, this all I know, what's on this side of the street.
Yeah.
So you can't blame people and be like, oh, they just complaining. That's been thousands of millions of years ago. What you mean? Dude, you've been locking the door.
I hate that it's been thousands of millions of years ago, but we bring up Christopher Columbus. We talk about that every day. That's 1492.
So
we can't talk about slavery. We can't talk about slavery.
We can't talk about Jim Crow.
We can't talk about Jim Crow. We can't talk about how we didn't have civil rights.
There's people living who still have, there's people alive whose parents, not parents, but who still have an ancestry of people who are slaves.
Yeah, they were slaves. I had to sit and think, my grandfather was, like, he lived through segregation. Like, I was sitting there thinking, I was talking to my wife, I'm like, my grandfather, me and him, he taught me so much. I want to first say that he taught me so much, but he didn't speak much. And I don't think he didn't speak much because he didn't know. he didn't know how to articulate, but he understood. He understood life.
Yeah, you could tell them eyes seen a lot.
He
That's how I see my dad. Sometimes I'm like, my man been through a lot. But like some of the stuff he would tell me, and I'm just like, man,
That's
and
why we
then the more you
keep
think
doing
about it, the more you be like, it's not that long ago. How old is America?
America, what they signed the Declaration of Independence in 1776.
Because people don't understand, like this country.
So Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. So America is not that old, y'all. Like,
but
slavery, the transatlantic slave trade started in 1619. It's not that old, y'all. The Civil Rights Bill, the voting, for everybody to vote, that was 1965. That's not that old, y'all.
That's not.
Like, and even after, you know what I just found out? Even after black people got freedom, they was trying to deport black people and send them back to Africa. Even though they were born here. You know how they trying to do Mexicans now because they're not naturalized or they were trying to do that to black people and black people were dragged here. But let's talk about how you going
to deport a dude who didn't want to come? What? You just taught me something. I didn't know that.
Like, come on.
Thanks for being.
It took them like 10 years. It took them 10 years for them to go, you know what? Y'all was already here. We're going to leave y'all alone.
And we brought some.
It took them like 10 years.
That doesn't because some of these stuff that's going on now, I could see the problem in it. Because I always say, of course, a nation has to protect its borders. Of course, that's just a natural thing.
I can see it, but let's talk about the reality. Them evicting Mexicans. Yeah, this is going into this. But it's
between the world and us.
It's between the world and us. Mexican people, last time they deported Mexican people, they went crying and groveling back to them and said, hey, we need y'all back because nobody was in the fields. Nobody was doing the hard work.
Fuzz, I'm great. I'm glad you said that because me and my roommate were talking. He's an older white gentleman. And we were talking about this, and I had to explain something to him. I said, dude, like what's going on right now with all this people sending, all right, a country has to protect its nations, and if you don't come here legally, we are all about being legal and doing all that the right way, right? We agree on that.
Yeah.
This is going to expose a lot of things, in my opinion. It's going to realize, like, the America that we think, I'm going to say white America. White America, I'm going to just say it. White America has a different image of America or experience in America in their heads that is not out of their heads yet. America has changed, and it hasn't changed. It's always been like that, but the opportunities and the way you lived your life were just you just didn't get to see the rest of it. Now you're getting to see the rest of it with all this, what's going on and stuff. You're going to realize, look, this is the greatest country on earth, but the world is catching up.
Yeah.
And it's not catching up because we're letting it. It's catching up because we had a head start in a way.
Because we stole from everybody. We used everybody, and then we knew perception.
And certain people, we not only stole it, but certain people were the beneficiary of that stealing. Mm-hmm. And now those people, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to make this a racist thing, but those people are like, they're coming to terms. They're not coming to terms, but they're starting to see, they're being exposed to a different side of a country that they didn't have to see. You get what I'm saying?
I think it's just the truth. Like,
being exposed to the truth.
The truth, like the truth hurts. Like that. You know what I know everybody hates Donald Trump and everything like that, and cool. I just like the fact that not gonna say be careful when you listen to what the Donald says, because the Donald sometimes.
But you know what I like about the Donald,
and it's completely fabricated. But he is going to say the things that nobody else wants to say. Mm-hmm. He's going to say the things that's going to hurt your feelings,
and he's going to say the things that even if he's wrong, he's going to expose stuff.
Yeah,
that's why I say like him right now.
That's why they want to kill him.
Good or bad or indifferent, he's starting a conversation. We're waking up. We're with the whole Elon Musk thing. I'm saying, like, where is this money going?
Where is it?
Where is this money going?